side of the day. Welcome to Stimulus Dimension. Today's segment profiles the sophomore film of my friend here, my guest and friend, Eddie Wolverine Solid X Johnson, The Ride to Heaven, and cast member Cameron Kimball.
Hi everybody, how you doing?
Yeah, before we get into the questions, just tell everybody out there what you like to do for fun.
I like to read the Bible, write movies, hang out with my friends, watch movies, just the basic stuff.
And I know you said that you don't get into hip hop too much anymore. But
I mean,
I'm gonna have you freestyle on the show.
I used to be real big into the hip hop and rap, but once I became a new creature, saved again by Jesus Christ, I kind of like let it go a little bit. I'm more so into the filmmaking now.
But you could always do some Christian rap.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah. I mean, the song at the end of Ride to Heaven was Library in Heaven, and it was a great song. But I don't know, I just want to focus on the movies right now. Not to lead the music.
I'm just going to say it's okay to be multidimensional.
Yeah.
When I say that, sometimes as creatives we try to put ourselves in a box. And then one day you explode because you got to get out of that box because you have to be all the things that you were created to be.
Amen.
So I just encourage you to be everything that God has put in you because we change from one day to the next.
And you mature with you.
Right, and it'll come when you want to. You might wake up tomorrow and be like, I really want to do that. So don't say you don't do it. Just say, right now, the forefront of his career, it's going to make it because that's what he's focused on right now.
And how about you, Cam?
Well, as you can tell, I am Cameron Kimball, and I am a motivational speaker. I will be on. No, I'm just joking. I'm Cameron. I am an actor. I'm also a writer, and I love to do all things creative. I like to paint. It's really not too much anything that I don't do, but I like to do things also behind the scenes. So I like working behind the scenes in film. I also am an avid reader. I love nature, and I just love life, and I love people. And my motto in life is be kind because it's free.
Amen.
That
Don't
sounds
cost
like a
you
t-shirt.
nothing. Hey, maybe.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get into the first question. In a 24-hour period, we watch an entire day fluctuate from morning to afternoon to evening, all the way into night. Depending on what region one lives in, a person's brightest, sunniest moment could be another's most somber, cloudiest, harrowing experience. In your opinion, inside a time zone metaphorical land, how does given stimuli such as reinforced gloom or happiness affect human emotion, and how is this applicable to the characters portrayed in your film?
That's a deep question. Well, I mean, 24 hours a day, you have a lot of time. A lot of times we like to sleep in or do other things with our time before we have to go to work. But the more and more I kept listening to Kobe Bryant, he was like, just be better. So waking up like earlier in the morning and writing for an hour or two before you shower or work out, it may provide you some extra creativity juice in something you might be working on or thinking about working on, because there is enough hours in the day to do it. It's just that a lot of times we get stuck in our ways. We have to become disciplined again, So waking up an extra hour or two early, reading the Bible or writing or creating or thinking or just anything, it may add like extra, like I say, juice to your creativity. And I mean, even when you get off work, a lot of times, when we get off work, we be exhausted or just in a bad mood because some people may have pissed you off, But if you really want to be goal driven, you can push yourself beyond your anger or setbacks and start writing and creating again, even afterwards.
That's a sublimation, taking negative energy and directing it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So how would that apply to some of the characters in your film, their backgrounds, the backgrounds that your characters were immersed in? How did it affect their personalities?
Well, when you look at Penelope, she was going through a lot, having abortions and messing with different men and stuff. And as the movie progressed, even Gaia told her, your husband was the one. So if she would have just stuck with him, then maybe things would have went more in her favor. But just like what happens in real life, a lot of times people think the grass is greener on the other side, and it's not. So that's kind of what happened with her.
Yeah, I think with the characters all together, that it was so many different life lessons that each character had, from Penelope to who's the doctor's name?
Dr. Craig.
To Dr. Craig, because I think a lot of the characters, one thing they had in common, they were trying to do things in and of themselves, and they kept God out of the equation altogether. And then at the end of the movie, once they were reviewing their lives and going through different things, they realized that if they would have put God at the forefront or made better choices, that things would have turned out differently. And I think that in life, that we as people don't always make the proper choices because of just being selfish or doing what we feel is good for right now and not thinking about the future. And so I think that the one thing that all the characters had in common was they weren't thinking about the future. They were only thinking about how to gratify themselves in the right now. And I think that was a powerful lesson for us all to learn from all the characters, is to stop trying to gratify the flesh and gratify yourself in the right now, but tune in to your higher power and tune into the Lord and do what you know is right, because the moral compass is just off for everybody.
Okay. My next question. Enlightenment is defined as the act or means of enlightening, the state of being enlightened, a final blessed state marked by the absence of desire or suffering. Upon viewing your film, what sort of second sight or message do you intend for audiences to walk away with?
The main thing I want people to walk away with is, like Cameron just said, making better choices in your life. Keeping God at the forefront, that's the main driving force. Loving yourself, loving your neighbor, trying to treat people with respect, and praying. And a lot of us are constantly operating off of our own thinking, and that's a no-no. We have to come back to God. That's why when Father Novelli did his monologue, I love the story of the prodigal son, because that relates to everybody. We're once at home with God, and we wander on, but one day I'm hoping that you'll come back home. And God is standing there with his arms wide open, ready to embrace and love and hold us. And he wants us to pray to him and, go through the life lessons of bumping our head until we can fall in line and, like you say, fully submit to the Lord and not keep backsliding and doing the things that we did before, or hanging around or going places that we once before. Now that I'm a new creature, I know, okay, it's not that I don't want to go there or I don't want to deal with those people. But if I do decide to deal with them, I'm going to fall back into my sin. So I have to avoid that. Still treat them with love and compassion, but keep it at a distance.
But I also think that in life we have a thing called balance. Mm-hmm. And even though we can be new creatures in Christ, we still make mistakes. Yeah, and it's our first time being here. So I just want to say we have to give ourselves some grace. And God gives us grace and mercy every day. Yeah. But we are not to take grace for granted, and we are not to take mercy for granted, because one day it may run out. Thank God that it hasn't as of yet, but we don't want to keep doing things to the point to where one day, he looks at us and he doesn't know our names anymore because we keep pressing the envelope. Because just like a child, when a child keeps doing wrong, you have to discipline them. And just like with us, when we go the wrong way, God will discipline us. And it's not to hurt you or to harm you, but it's just to get your attention, to get you back on the right path. So I just say that that's the one thing I really did love about the movie and the message, is just for us to all to try to get back on the right path and know that God is always there. His arms are always open, and he doesn't walk away from us, we walk away from him. But when you come back, he's always going to be there.
All right. My third question. I shine, you shine, we shine. A prism is a transparent body that is bounded in part by two non-parallel plane faces and is used to refract or disperse a beam of light, or in other words, a medium that distorts, slants, or colors whatever is viewed through it. God's will and the benevolent spirit radiate through the mind, body, and soul in much the same fashion. What do you feel makes someone choose one entity over the other?
Well, for example, like I know when I was young, it was a lot of influence. Smoking weed or joining a gang or robbing somebody for their bike and just doing vandalism, doing stupid stuff, you know. But when you're young, you think that's cool. You see your friends doing it, you may even try it. But as you, like I say, grow up and you learn your lesson, damn, I can't be graffitiing on this wall right here, I can go to jail. I can't be stealing Lil Ray Ray's bike. You know, he part of the headbangers and the forks up, you know. They gonna come for me, you know. But that's the type of things we go to when we're growing up, especially in a city like Detroit. You know, here you get a little bit of everything, you know, especially in the neighborhood I know I grew up in. There was a lot of crazy stuff going on. People getting hit by cars, homes being shot up. I remember when me and my family house got robbed, you know, the effect that had on us, you know. And then even my parents divorcing, like you gonna go through a lot of cycles, a lot of things in your life. But God, He's the glue that's gonna bring you back, you know.
I always tell people life is a cycle of visions.
I agree. And I mean, eventually, when you go through your cycle, like I said, you keep bumping your head, but eventually you gonna learn. You know, it's like putting your hand on the oven when the fire is on, hot. Don't touch that. But until I touch it and feel it, I may not understand it. But now, oh shit, I burnt my hand. It's hot.
Yeah, but the one thing I wanted to just say that we don't always have to bump our heads and burn our hands. Even though I did do that when I was like 2 years old. My mother told me, don't touch the stove, it's hot. And I looked at her and was like, but it's, I touched it.
That's going to make you want to do it more.
Yeah,
because it was brown, it wasn't red. In my mind, it's red means hot. It's not, because it's not, I wanted to do what I want to do. And that was a lesson for me to learn. Little buggy. But it was a hard lesson for me to learn. So I would just implore people, you don't always have to bump your head in order to learn a lesson. Sometimes you can look at the life of other individuals and their struggles and the things that they have gone through and let that be your life lesson. So sometimes, you know, and then also it is hard to be a young person because of peer pressure and different things, and especially now in today's society. But I would just say, you know, try to be strong and be true to yourself, because a lot of times we sway and go to the right or the left because of peer pressure, because of what's going on in our surroundings. But inside of each of us, we have a still small voice that will tell us what's right and what's wrong.
And that's God talking directly to you.
Yeah, and it's hard to listen to it. But at the end of the day, if you're true to yourself and you listen to yourself and do what you know is right, then you'll be ahead of the curve every time.
Okay. My next question. Trauma bond is a bond. This is a quote from the character Penelope, played by Yolanda Hayes. In the male-female relationship dynamic, why is it some find dysfunctionality more appealing than stability?
That's a good question.
Because I'll answer this. As a woman, a lot of times when I saw Penelope's character, she was searching for love. And because maybe when she was a child, she didn't get the love that she needed and wanted at a young age. When she grew older, she kept looking for love in all the wrong places. So she did have a man that loved her and affirmed her and wanted to be there for her, but she was not honest with him. She had abortions. He loved her so much he would have forgiven her. He would have looked beyond that, and he would have did everything to continue to, you know, make her happy. They could have adopted. They could have been foster parents, but she didn't look at all those issues because she was so caught up in her own hurt. So as a woman, a lot of women like the trauma bond because it's what they're used to. They're used to the drama. They're used to getting talked down to. They're used to being, some women abused physically, emotionally, and so they keep going back to the same thing. So when they do get a good man, they don't want him because of that trauma bond, because they're so used to the negativity, and that is really a trick of the enemy.
It is.
Because that's not normal. So if you know somebody who is in a trauma bond, you should get counseling. Because in order for you to heal someone else and have a productive, loving relationship, you have to be healed and made whole yourself. And you can get it from the Lord, but God also gives us great counselors and people that we can talk to through these things so that we can be better individuals.
And sometimes when you're in a relationship with a person, you getting to know them. Like I was with this one young lady for a few years, and one day we was getting it in, and she said, "Oh, we'll bring and choke me," and I'm like, "What, choke you?" Okay, but it was just stuff like that. Sometimes people are used to being roughed up, or they think that's love, And next thing you know, a person putting their hands on you, and they thinking that that's normal. That's not normal.
That's the way they were conditioned.
But that's the way they conditioned,
Or what they saw.
And in the movie you'll see when John got fed up, he put his hands on Penelope, And that happens a lot in life, not even with just black people, all people,
And she thought that it was okay because that may have been what she saw. It may have been what she was used to because she experienced it. But for most women, it comes from a lot of times something that you saw your grandmother, your mother, your aunt, or somebody go through, because that's not normal.
Yeah, it's not normal and it's not right. And like you said, a lot of people need help. If you know a person going through that, definitely try to help them or get them help. You may not want to involve yourself too deep in a relationship, but if you're seeing your friend lumped up and messed up, you got to do something.
You can tell them, but sometimes they don't want to listen.
They don't want to listen.
You got to pray for them, tell them, and then also do some research and try to give them the proper resources, because at the end of the day, it's their choice.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of times people will be in these situations, and then you'll try to help them, and then they'll attack you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I can
get mad at you
because I work in security. A lot of domestic situations come through where I work at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The minute I'm trying to intervene, like, oh, wait a minute, the motherfucker, I don't want nobody talking to you, and then they they going in on me.
They're going in on you, right? So, they're deflecting that. They're the person that's causing the damage, so they try to now take it out on you.
So I just I don't even get that close. I just kind of stay a few feet away from both of them, and I try to get both people's side of the story, and then come to a conclusion like that instead of getting right in the middle of it. Like, oh, wait a minute, you.
Right, so there's been a lot of situations where a person will try to break up a fight, they end up harmed or dead. That's happened a lot in life. So be very careful with that.
Your idea of starting a new business is exciting, but one will have to go through lots of obstacles before it turns into reality. Financial decisions made on the early stages of forming the business will dictate whether the venture will succeed or fail. But with Pettis, we'll help your business maximize in profits while minimizing your tax burden. We'll help you weigh the pros and cons of each financial decision you will take. We'll also form your business and set you up with free accounting software to help you keep track of your income and expenses. Don't risk making a mistake. Contact Pettis LLC, your full-service accounting firm in Detroit, for practical advice that will help you make the best decisions for your new business.
Conceptual elixirs. Conceptual elixirs. Conceptual elixirs. Conceptual elixirs.
We're back and go to the next one.
She popping up.
We're back now in stimulus dimension. I'm sorry, she's clouded. I couldn't hold it laughing.
What are you talking about? He's lying. He's not telling the truth.
Okay, so I'm down to my final question. Okay. The previously mentioned character, John, carries a backstory that is poignantly all too familiar across generations. The story of the absentee father, which you guys kind of talked about or touched on a little bit. The advent of the man-child is is inevitable. Responsibilities as mediator and confidant are typically forced on the oldest child of multiple siblings, surrogating for the missing patriarch and lessening weight on the maternal element of the family, making it easier for her to provide as well. Circumstances like these obstruct the light of youth. Do you have any words of inspiration that eclipse any negative impact or connotations for children of the world growing up without a male figure in their lives?
The best advice I could give for children going through that is the people in your community or the people that surround you, like a teacher or a coach. You can start talking to them a little more and finding that missing mom or dad within them. They say it takes a village, and that's true, You have to reach out to positive people, going to the YMCA or going to the gym after class, or if, like I said, if there's a favorite teacher you have, or, it's weird, like energy can be read very easily by those who are in tune with the Lord. And sometimes you could just tell, like, it's something about this child right here, it's something about the student right here. I think I may need to put an extra more time in with this person. And the next thing you know, you're able to help nurture them in a way to where they can navigate their way through whatever is going on in their mind because of the lack thereof, and leading them back, of course, to Christ once again. But just having that positive energy and having a good pastor or people at your church where they know your situation, like, oh, well, little Ronnie don't have a dad, so okay, I know that now. So okay, so when we playing basketball, I'm gonna take a little bit extra time out with him, or I may understand, like, hey, he may need a meal a couple times a week, so invite him and his sister over, or maybe something at the church where they have extra canned goods or giveaways for the less fortunate.
I also think that even though we want to associate everything with community centers and churches, pay attention to what's going on in your neighborhood. Because it's a lot of times it can be the household next door where people don't have food and different things of that nature. Step in where you can step in. I remember I lived out in Novi, and I had a home, and I would see this little girl. She would be walking in the winter to take her brother to school, pick him up from school, and it was cold. And so one day I was picking my son up from the bus stop, and I said, well, get in the car, because she lived right next door. And then I asked her mother, well, can I pick your daughter up? And because it's cold.
Right.
I don't mind, because she would walk all the way in the housing complex, and then have to walk all the way like a mile to go. She would come home from school, get in there a half a mile, and then have to walk back and then go get her brother. So I started, I would say, come and knock on my door, because I'd be asleep, because I work sunrise shift. She would come and knock on the door, and I would get up and take her to pick up her brother and her sister, and I would drive them back home. So sometimes we have to be the change that we know needs to be had. We need to stop always saying this person, that person. Be a good person. Be there for people. Fill in the need when you see there is a need. When you see the children need help, what's wrong with the world now is people don't want to help nobody. All they want to do is think about themselves. Well, it's about me and how I feel. It ain't my problem. I don't have to deal with it. This is that and the third. I mean, that's not right. When you see a need, fill that need in. You know what I'm saying? And it don't have to be related to you. They don't have to be at your school, your church. Just ask questions and, just be there for people. Like I said, it's free to be kind. Be kind. Pay attention to your surroundings. When we were growing up, the church was very in tune with the community, but nowadays, you are the church. Sometimes the church is you. It ain't. Sometimes you are the church. You have to be the light that you need for other people to see. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. And when you see somebody needs help, help them.
Help. Yeah, and even like I say, when I go to church or Bible study, I don't really see a lot of young people there. It's not like how it was when we were younger. It seemed like people were more into going and all that, but now,
because when we were children, they made us go to church. Nowadays, these kids, they give them a choice.
Right.
And that is not good, because you're giving them a choice. You don't know what's good for you when you were a child. Right. But I thank the Lord that my mother made me go to church. And honey, I could go out and have a good time. When I was a teenager, my mother would be like, oh honey, you got in 6 o'clock this morning, hit the flow, because we going to church. I'd be like, but I just got home. If you can stay out all night and party, you can get up in the morning and stay 8 hours in church. I think they used to do that on purpose.
Yeah,
Make you suffer.
Yeah, teach you a
You'd
lesson.
be like, Mom, we gotta stay for 5 services today. Oh, well, you was out last night. It made you not want to go out. Bring that book home at 10 o'clock. Then that way you won't get in trouble.
Yeah, times definitely changed. When we was growing up, street lights come on. Hey, come on and out. We still playing. Now you look outside, they ain't even barely out there. They too busy on a tablet and computer.
See, when we were children, we had, what's wrong with the world now is too many choices. When we were kids, it was A, B, and C, red, blue, and green, and yellow sometimes. Now they have magenta. They have 30 shades of pink. They have 1,000 shades of purple. They got 1,000 shades of green. It's too many choices. We just need to go back to basics, and basics just being the moral fiber of what's going on in the world. And just like now, you know, we have a presidential election. I'm not going to speak on that, but I want to say, start at the state level in your city. Start working in your sphere of influence. Start working in your sphere of influence citywide, statewide. We do have something to say. We can make a change in that area and then leave the rest to God. Do both, but
Wait a minute, Cameron, is your ear bleeding?
no, it's not. And I'm not laughing historically like a horse either. But yeah, I like either of them, so Godspeed. So we just really have to pray and know that Jesus is Lord. And this probably can get cut out of the interview, but I just said what I said.
I say let's keep it. It's real.
Keep it real. So, my final question, which is not in the script, but I just was curious to know who would you like to work with in the future, as a director?
I mean, there's a lot of great people out there. Like I said, I would definitely like to do something with Marvel Comics, Ryan Coogler possibly, maybe 50 Cent. I would like to do something also with Makiva Albert. I think she's very talented. I definitely want to do more stuff with you guys. Maybe even Spike Lee, or Wesley Snipes, bring out some of the old classic people who done put it down out here for all of us up and coming black directors and actors out here. There's a lot of great people out here. I'm so happy that Detroit people are doing something more constructive and creating films and getting out there. Even though a lot of it might all be the same, but like you said earlier, it's their art. People are putting themselves out there, so let's congratulate that. Let's not look down on it. Let's just say, hey, that might be their first or second film. That might be their first time doing something. Give them to their fourth or fifth. Then you're gonna see a major difference. Progression.
I just want to say that there's nobody that I would not work with. And I say that from a theatrical standpoint. I like grassroots. I just like to create. I love acting. I love singing. I love writing music. I like to just be me. However I can be around people who are like-minded and do something that is going to change the world. Because I believe at this point in my life, I want to do things that are going to incite change. Not just entertain people, but make people think. So a lot of the projects that I'm working on personally are like projects similar to this that incite change, make you think, and say, would God be pleased with this? Maybe I need to think about something, do something a different way, because there's so many situations and circumstances that can be highlighted through this avenue artistically that can bless children. Everybody doesn't, we've had a lot of the strippers and the dope fiends and all of that, and we know that it sells and it's fine, and I'm happy for people who are making money, but I just want to do things that are conscientious of the future and that a child could see, like a Spike Lee movie. Those are movies that made us think. Those were movies that made us socially aware.
Yeah, Do the Right Thing.
There's a lot of different films that we could glean from that could incite change and would make a difference, that has some sprinklings of reality. And I just want to do films that are, have the essence of reality along with art that has a great moral fiber that a 3-year-old could watch, from somebody from 0 to 110, where we could get a message out of it.
And to me, that's what filmmakers are. Somewhat, or sociologists. They take a social phenomenon, expound on it, and get you to thinking about it. Spark growth mentally, physically, spiritually.
And there are some other great filmmakers in Detroit, like Zachary Cunningham, Tamashian Jones, Renika McQueen, Dennis Reed, do his things, and it's so many upcoming, like Cameron Cottrell. There's so many people, Carmen Michelle, people who are putting their foot in the pond, and they're killing it. They have their films out, and I'm just so proud of everybody in the film community.
Everybody keep going.
Yes. And my turn. I'm up next.
Amber Campbell on the way, y'all. Watch out.
So that concludes our show. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Stimulus Connection.
Peace.
And thank you for having us. And one more thing,
Yeah,
we are
thanks,
here on Grand River at the
Rose Cafe. Shout out to the Rose Cafe.
Yep.
As you can see, the ambiance is beautiful, it's quiet, it's absolutely chill. You can come here with your laptop, you can come here and take care of some business calls, you can come here to study. And it's very important that we patronize our Black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
So we would like to thank the owner of the Rose Cafe for allowing us to
be here
utilize
today.
his space.
Shout out to Eric.
Shout out to Eric.
Shout out to Eric.
Come on down, get a cup of coffee.
Shout out. Would you like to meet the owner?
You want to come in real quick? Good? Okay.
He a little camera shy, but maybe next time. All right, until next time.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Bye.
Peace and love.
And thank you for having me. Knowledge. That's what we call it.
Knowledge walk.
Thank you for coming.